Today on General Hospital, Willow spars with Michael. Drew orders Alexis to work with Martin, and Ned is rushed into surgery as the family waits for news. Brooke, Lynn, and Chase arrive at the hospital, and Portia talks to them and the rest of the family. Britt interjects and explains that Ned had a widowmaker heart attack and needs to be operated on immediately. Portia pulls Britt aside and tells her she's out of line and not authorized to treat patients. Jason intervenes and suggests Britt step out with him for air and that they wait at Bobby's until they hear something. Britt says she'll meet him outside and storms off. Meanwhile, Emma tells the family how Gio jumped in to help, and Brooklyn is touched when Gio refers to Ned as Grandpa. Jason and Britt head to Bobby's, and she rants that she hates her job, her room above this diner, and Jason forcing her to come back here. Jason is grateful she's here, and he bets Ned is too. He appreciates what she did for Ned today and says she is a good person, which she tries to deny. At the hospital, Portia confirms Ned has a complete blockage and needs bypass surgery, and he's being taken to the OR as they speak. Meanwhile, Gio tells Emma that he had a great conversation with Ned earlier, and he wasted so much time keeping him at arm's length when he did nothing wrong. Emma tells him that Ned gave him the space he needed to work things out, and she knows Ned is fighting to come back to him and his family. Brooke Lynn expresses her fears about losing her dad to Chase. Chase assures her that Ned won't go anywhere without a fight, and they embrace. At the PCU auditorium, Ezra tries to goad Laura before the debate, in saying her relationship with Sonny will be her downfall. Ezra walks off, and Martin approaches his sister. He knows he messed up, which is why he's here to support her. Laura fills him in on Anna's disappearance, which Ezra is going to use against her, along with Sonny's son Dante being named acting commissioner. Martin tells her that she needs to defend her decision based on the facts, but Laura is also concerned that Rocco might get caught in the crossfire as Sonny's grandson. Martin admires her integrity and says that is why she is so popular with her constituents. He says Ezra slinging mud will make the voters' choice that much easier. He has to leave to meet Alexis, but says he'll be rooting for her. Charlotte, Rocco, and Danny decide to go ahead with Emma's plan and break into the lab. Once inside, they turn on the lights and are stunned to find that there are no animals. Just a lab filled with computers and other machines. Danny thinks Emma got it all wrong, but Charlotte suggests they look for any evidence that Dalton has been testing on animals. They find nothing, and as they go to leave, they are forced to hide when Dalton enters the lab. Dalton starts getting to work, but hears someone in the lab, and Rocco reveals himself. Danny and Charlotte remain hidden in another part of the lab, and Dalton asks what he's doing here. Rocco says he's here to prove he's performing tests on animals, but Dalton says there are no animals here. Dalton recognizes Rocco as Laura's grandson, grabs him, and drags him out of the lab. Alone, Charlotte tells Danny that Rocco just sacrificed himself for them, and now he's in a world of trouble. Danny says he knows who can help them, and they take off. Drew drops by Alexis's office and is pleased she got Willow out on bail. He wants to talk strategy, and if Alexis plans to implicate Michael in court. Alexis tells him she intends to call out everyone who could have shot him. Drew only wants her to focus on Michael, but Alexis says her job is to do anything it takes to get Willow acquitted. Drew informs her that he's asked Martin to be her co-counsel, which doesn't please the lawyer. Alexis tells Drew that if he keeps pushing this Michael agenda, Willow could very well end up in prison. At the Metro Court Gardens, Willow is stunned to see Michael and Wiley with Jacinda. Wiley runs over and hugs his mom and then drags her over to his dad and Jacinda. Willow learns of Jacinda's new job with Nina and assumes Michael had something to do with that. Michael suggests to Wiley that it's late and they need to get home. Wiley says goodbye to his mom, who he's been worried about, and she promises him that she's never going away again. Wiley tells his dad that he wants Jacinda to come back to their house and see his stuffed spider. As they try and walk off, Willow pulls Michael aside and tells him that she knows he framed her, and she and Alexis will prove it. Michael simply walks away from her. Drew arrives later when Willow calls him, and she cries to him that Michael was here, acting like a pseudo-family with Wiley and Jacinda. She never thought Michael would expose their son to a sex worker. Drew says it is more evident than ever that Michael doesn't deserve custody. Martin stops by Alexis's office, and she tells him that Drew is obsessed with laying the blame for his shooting on Michael, which is bad for Willow's case. She wants to put all the suspects out there, which puts the PCPD on trial for failing to follow up on other suspects. He says it's a good plan, so she asks him to tell that to his boss. In the Quartermain kitchen, Michael talks with Jacinda after putting Wiley to bed. She thinks their being together could hurt his image, but Michael doesn't care. He gets worked up, ranting about Willow, but calms himself down and knows he has to keep his composure on the stand. He also needs her to be able to provide him with an airtight alibi, and if what will be a problem for her at the hospital. Brooklyn knows she needs to thank Britt for helping her dad, but Lulu says Gio also deserves credit, as he was performing CPR on Ned and made all the difference, according to Britt. Brooklyn looks over at Gio, who is with Emma, and mouths, "Thank you." He smiles and nods at her. In Alexis's office, Martin warns her that if she fails to exonerate Willow, there will be hell to pay from Drew. At the Metro Court, Drew tells Willow they will use Michael's bad judgment against him, and once she's exonerated, it will be Michael who ends up in prison. In the Q's kitchen, Michael asks Jacinda if there is anyone who can claim they weren't together that night. She insists she was in her hotel alone when she left him. He appreciates what she's doing for him, takes her hand, and kisses it. In the PCU auditorium, Laura tries to convince Ezra to debate the issue tonight, rather than focusing on their personal lives. Ezra says his life is beyond reproach, which she doubts. At Bobby's, Danny and Charlotte arrive and find Britt and Jason, and tell them about breaking into the lab and Rocco being caught. Back at PCU, Dalton arrives with Rocco and demands that campus security arrest him for breaking into his lab. Laura is horrified and Ezra smiles.